Welcome back, folks. Today we're taking a look at Overwatch 2's newest support hero, Wuyang. He's a water-based support hero that feels like Zen, Mercy, Moira, and Ana all rolled into one hero. In this video, we'll cover his abilities, perks, and 3 tips for every one of his abilities. Let's get it. We'll start with his abilities. Wuyang's primary weapon is the, that staff. It fires a water orb. If you hold it down, the water orb becomes charged after about a quarter of a second, which not only lets you guide the orb, but increases the damage that it does as well. His secondary fire is called Restorative Stream. You can use this both as a Zen type ability that locks onto a teammate and passively heals them with 25 heals per second, and will go away if out of LOS for 5 seconds. And if you hold down right click on somebody, you get a Mercy type healing that does 50 heals per second on top of the 25 passive heals per second, giving your target a total of 75 heals per second. This uses your healing resource though, much like Moira. Wuyang's movement ability is called Rushing Torrent. This gives Wuyang an initial burst of 25 meters per second, which drops to a 50% movement speed buff for the rest of the 4 seconds. It also gives Wuyang a 3.7 meter jump height, up from the standard 0.98 meters. Wuyang's E ability is Guardian Wave. This sends out a wave that not only does damage to and knocks back enemies, but also increases allies' healing like an Ana. It does 80 damage up close and heals 80 HP, plus it gives allies a 50% increase in healing received for 3 seconds. These are the exact same stats as Ana's nade, except Guardian Wave does more damage up close. Last but not least, we have Tidal Blast, Wuyang's ult. When activated, it lets you left click on a teammate to give them a water shield. This gives your ally 400 overhealth, then explodes after 3.5 seconds, doing 100 damage and knocking everyone down in a 7.5 meter radius, and healing the ally for 250 HP. Tidal Blast can be activated on an ally or yourself. But be careful, if you cast it on yourself, it adds 0.66 seconds to the cast time, which doesn't seem like much, but can easily get you killed. Let's move on to the perks. Starting out with the minor perks, one got a buff and one got a nerf at the start of Season 18. We've got a choice between Overflow, which gives Wuyang 10 more ammo and now gives 50% more healing resource instead of 33% whenever you use Rushing Torrent. Or Balance, which increases Restorative Stream's passive healing by 30% now instead of 40% for 2 seconds every time you deal damage with primary fire. Moving on to the major perks, we've got Ebb and Flow, which makes your Guardian Wave go backwards after it gets to the end, dealing 50% less damage on the way back, and now 50% less healing as well. The other option for major perks is Falling Rain. This lets you have 3 water orbs instead of 1 that all deal 60% less damage for a total of 180% damage if you hit all of them. This can be really useful for quickly melting tanks and for taking down shields, but you'll want to be careful with this one because it's really easy to snag your orbs on something and lose all that damage. Now for the tips. Starting out with a basic tip for primary fire, don't hold your orbs for too long. Once they're charged, they don't uncharge, so let go once they're charged so you can quickly send out volleys of charged shots. Okay, I won't say charge anymore. For secondary fire, make sure you always have your passive heal on someone. It seems simple, but it's easy to get caught up in doing damage and simply forget to have it on someone. It's basically free heals, so just pay attention to this circle every once in a while. Moving on, Guardian Wave gives allies 50% more healing, so if someone needs a lot of healing, hit them with a wave and immediately use your secondary to give them even more heals. Rushing Torrent can be a great escape button, but you should also be using it to reposition as much as possible. The key to Wuyang, and most mobility supports, is to anticipate where the team needs you and be there beforehand. Finally, you may be tempted to hold on to Tidal Blast until you can get a good combo, but Wuyang gets his ult pretty fast, and saving someone like a tank that's deep in the enemy team can actually turn a teamfight around. Just don't use it as the last alive unless you want to get flamed by everyone. Let's take it up a notch and go over some intermediate tips. The first one ties into the basic primary fire tip. Use your faster shots to keep pressure up on an area. This can hold enemies off or make them take another route, and you can even get a kill without trying. As for the secondary fire, try and balance your passive healing versus holding down right click. Try to make sure you always have some healing left in the tank, just in case. Of course, if your whole team suddenly needs a lot of heals, you can use Guardian Wave. My intermediate tip for this ability is to save it for the big moments. Don't waste Wave on trivial things like a tank who got hit once. Guardian Wave is great at saving teammates who are critical and even better at resetting a whole team's health. Utilize your rushing torrent to close the gap with teammates who break line of sight. This can help power your teammates through intense fights and even give you some opportunities for kills. Finally, Tidal Blast works best when combined with a strong, fast hero. Some great uses for it are Doom when he dives in, Rhine when he charges in, and Genji when he uses Blade. The best hero to use it on, in my opinion though, is Reaper. He's the only hero who can use Tidal Blast while invulnerable. Now for the advanced tips. First up, for primary fire, once you get good at aiming the orb, you can use it to finish kills around corners and even to chase enemies without putting yourself in danger. For secondary fire, Wuyang's biggest strength is being able to apply tons of pressure while still healing a lot. Because of this, you should train yourself to intersperse water orbs in between your healing. Heal for a bit, throw some orbs, heal for a bit, throw some more orbs. And of course, if you're out of healing resource, you should be totally focused on doing damage, both to keep up the pressure and to take out enemies in order to save your teammates. Up next, Guardian Wave. The best Wuyangs layer their wave with other abilities and tend to anticipate where the wave should be before everyone knows that they need it. This means using wave in combination with things like ults, dives, collapses, etc. Basically, you should be using wave to give your teammates more healing and more confidence to push, or to be able to back up if needed. For rushing torrent, use this to stay in sync with your tank. If the tank charges, you can use rushing torrent to stay right there with him. If your team retreats, you can stay right there with them. This means that Wuyang generally takes on the role of supporting the tank and poking as much as possible. The other support helps the best by staying in the backline and supporting the teammates Wuyang can't see. Rushing torrent can also be used to peel to the backline if your other support needs help. Finally, for Tidal Blast, this should be used as a momentum shifter. Is the other team starting to push you back? Is your tank backing up because he can't handle the damage? Perfect time to throw an ult in there. In just 2 button presses, the entire enemy team will be scared for their life and repositioning. This is the best way to turn around a team fight and give your team the advantage once again. Now that we're done with all that, I'm going to leave you with one final expert tip for Wuyang's entire kit. At the highest level, Wuyang isn't always about making flashy plays or getting crazy stats. Of course, some players do get flashy plays and crazy stats, but that's not what Wuyang is about. The best Wuyang players master the duality of his kit. He's both the anchor that steadies his team and keeps them stable, as well as the tide that pushes forward and carries his team into the fight. You'll know you're playing Wuyang right if your entire team is feeling good and doing well without even realizing what you're doing. Every torrent, every orb, every tidal blast, every move you make, every step you take should be shaping the fight and giving the advantage to your team, even if no one notices the value you're getting. This is the most essential role of a support player, and Wuyang is the perfect example of this playstyle. Well, I hope you learned something from this. This video has been in the works for so long that I had to change the script twice, and the entire video twice, just for a few patches. Anyway, let me know if I missed anything, or what you'd like to see in the future. Other than that, I hope you have a great day, and you stay safe. Peace.